All right, good evening. It's definitely been a few weeks. One of the reasons was I was waiting for a formal briefing from the department on what this DNC deployment was going to look like. Never got that briefing, never even got the formal 360-page order on what the briefing was going to be. Regrettably, here we are, day 2 of the deployment, and the DNC starts tomorrow. The last 48 hours have been quite eye-opening about how, unprepared, lack of communication, whatever you want to call it, too many chefs in the kitchen. But the changes that have occurred just in this deployment area alone over the last 48 hours is pretty remarkable, to say the least. You would have thought this was all game planned and spitballed, every T crossed, every I dotted. Of course, there are always things you cannot account for, but that was supposed to be what might happen over the next 4 days, not what should have been happening going on here. Nonetheless, here we are. One of the major problems was our bonehead mayor decided to grant a permit at Union Park for basically Antifa and all the We Hate Police crowd, amongst obviously the anti-war people, and give them not only a stage, audio equipment and everything else, when the feds basically said don't let them come that close to the event. All that did was increase the outer ring by the federal government around the United Center. It made the lockdown even tighter and more cumbersome for delegates to even get into convention, because this mayor loves to placate his base audience, and that is the communist, Antifa, socialist, anarchists. That is who he is, that is his base, and all he did was put our members in greater jeopardy over the next 4 days plus, because he just wants to be so damn woke. Shame on him. Friday afternoon, we filed a long anticipated and pretty cumbersome labor effort when it came to going against COPA and civilian oversight, and Andrea Kirsten specifically. The Lodge has never partaken in such an endeavor of filing a federal civil lawsuit in collaboration with and on behalf of 8 of our members who bravely signed on the dotted line, who have been abused by the investigatory agency known as COPA, and Andrea Kirsten, and Sade Jackson, her number 2, and her chief investigator, and the beats go on and on and on. Through arbitration and discipline hearings, we have uncovered example after example how the people who are tasked with accountability are accountable to nobody. They lie, they fabricate, they railroad officers routinely, and enough was enough. Like I said, the Lodge has never participated as a litigant when it came to civil litigation on behalf of our members, but the board of directors took a vote and said enough was enough. It's time that we step up and do something and try and stop this insanity, and hopefully it results in some major changes going forward discipline-wise for our membership and a collective bargaining agreement. I'll have more updates as we go along, I'm sure. Tomorrow, the next day, as this convention kind of kicks off and the protests keep going. But I'm going to include a clip from a ride that I took, and also First Vice President Mike Meddy. We have rode with this group now for the last couple of years. It is called Beyond the Call of Duty End of Watch Ride. It commemorates fallen officers from across the country. They go to every department who lost an officer, specifically this ride in the last 2 years. If they request a memorial, the rolling memorial comes in along with a motorcycle escort. Obviously the department and especially the family members are given some time and a little ceremony to remember and see their loved one on the side of the memorial. It's a pretty unique organization. We are looking to try and get them more funding and sponsorship. So of the 7,000 subscribers to this channel, I'm asking and challenging y'all. If y'all give just $10, that's $70,000 to go all across the United States, hotels, gas stops, maintenance for the vehicles. It's a very costly endeavor. And but I could tell you, personally riding with them now for a couple of weeks on each leg or each year, it is pretty humbling to be able to talk to Gold Star family members in other parts of the United States. And when you come in a year, 2 years, 2.5 years after they've lost a loved one and let them know that people still remember and still appreciate the sacrifice, it means the world to those families. And at the end of the day, that's the motivation for all of this. So I want to give a shout out to J.C. Shaw, the founder of the Beyond a Call of Duty Foundation. Allison is #1 rider in organizing all of the things and places that organization goes. Take a look at the website, and if you can donate some money to them, it would be much appreciated and put to good use for Gold Star family members. Until the next update, take care, have a good night.
Has it got the whole rig in there? Yes.
Okay, what better way to spend a week's vacation than riding with some amazing people for an amazing cause, Beyond the Call of Duty and to watch Ride. This ride goes across the United States commemorating fallen law enforcement officers, specifically this memorial for 22 and 23. This year, the ride went, how many miles, Rich?
22,000.
How many departments?
254.
Fallen officers?
380.
And in how many days?
73.
This is the first, this isn't the first time. This is Allison. She has done every mile of every ride every single year. She is the iron horse of this organization and does all the scheduling. I'm going to introduce you to the founder and the creator of this idea, J.C. Shaw. He's going to give a little information on what this organization does, and I'm going to explain to you how you can all donate to this cause. So when they do the next ride in 2 more years, it's a very fulfilling ride for all the family members of Gold Star.
Well, thank you. The ride, why did we start it? Our main objective is to make sure that every single police officer in this nation knows that they are never alone in what they do as an officer. Our goal is to make sure that every single man and woman is remembered years after, honored, and the departments know that their pain and suffering is being felt across the nation. You know, I look at John with Chicago 7, FOP 7, and what he and his organization's done to welcome us over and over again, and how we honor just the Chicago officers, but bring the memories of who they are and bring their families back for the rides to remember and talk about their loss and bring a value to the fallen officer, bring a name to the fallen officer, not just a badge number. So please share us, like us, promote us, and follow us.